Psalm 51 here, New Valley. Now, Psalm 51 is one of the heaviest, but also one of the most hopeful Psalms I have ever read. One of the heaviest because our beloved hero of the Old Testament, King David, has fallen into heinous sin. He's committed adultery, been unfaithful to his wife. He killed Uriah, one of his soldiers, in order to cover this sin up. And he's been unfaithful as a ruler and leader of God's people. So what could be hopeful about this? What's hopeful is David has turned his confession into a song. And as he comes to God, he doesn't try to make excuses. He doesn't try to rationalize, but he simply comes before the Lord and says things like, "Generous in love, God, give grace. Huge in mercy, wipe out my bad record. Scrub away my guilt. Soak out my sins in your laundry. I know how bad I've been. My sins are staring me down. You're the one I've violated, and you've seen." And what's interesting here is David comes to God and he says, "It's against you and you alone that I've sinned. You're the one I've violated." Now, how could he say that? Because he's sinned against Bathsheba, against Uriah's family, against his nation. Well, what David recognizes is that his sin is ultimately against God and God's ways and God's rule. He's violated the rules of the kingdom to love your neighbor as yourself and to put God above all else. What I love about this psalm also is David, as he speaks to God, he grows in boldness. And as it goes on, you'll see him start to ask things of God, like, "Don't throw me out with the trash or fail to breathe holiness in me. Bring me back from gray exile. Give me a job teaching rebels your ways so that the lost can find their way home." This kind of boldness can only come when you recognize that you're before a very powerful and very merciful God. And it's seen no more clearly in the scriptures than in the life of Jesus. He lived a perfect life. He had all power in his hands, and yet he allowed himself to be nailed to a tree so that he could redeem us. Praise God. There is hope for wretches like you, me, and King David. Let this word encourage you today, saints. Peace.